Hey everyone, my name is Mike Cornwell, if you didn't know me, and this is another edition of Coding with Mike. What we're going to work on today is we are going to work on the Node and Layers toolkit. I just released the homepage for Node and Layers, finally got that out. Certainly the guides and the blogs are not written. So I noticed when I was starting to write them that they're right now the toolkit, especially for getting off the ground, is not where it really needs to be. And so we're going to work on that right now. And I think this is going to be pretty good. We're definitely going to get into some of the depths of getting a Node and Layers system up and going. I've got a couple different ideas of what I want to try to accomplish. And so you get to see me do it. Let's go ahead and do it. Let's hop right in. Okay, so here's my development environment. For you that know or don't know, I use Cursor to do AI development, and it's certainly one of those things where I really actually don't like VS Code. I've never really liked VS Code, but I use VS Code because, well, Cursor is using VS Code. So that is what it is. We got our toolkit here. Let me pull up a terminal and just make sure. I think we're going to need to get a new, yeah, I've got new interface. That is kind of what we want. So let's keep that. I'm also going to go ahead and iterate the version. This is a major version. So let's go ahead and let's go to a 2.0. Actually, let's, what is core? I'm actually kind of curious. 1.10.13. Let's see what it was before. Well, I know. Well, why don't we just match it? We'll do that. 1.10.13. I don't know if I should do that because this is definitely a major version. All right, so we'll do that. All right, the official toolkit for creating, updating, maintaining node and layer-based systems. Yep, that's correct. Another thing I think we want to do is, one, we're going to want to include our shell in here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. Nil shell. Okay. And let me get that screen out of the way. Okay. So then now let's go. I'm going to another one of our systems. And I'm going to move it into place. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. Node and layers. We are dealing with the toolkit. Bin. Do it there. So now let's rename this. One of my favorite things that when I left doing like C# or whatever and going to Python, I love the Python shell. And it's because you can figure things out about the language so quickly by just popping open the shell. And I think a lot of modern languages have finally figured that out. Are these? I'm actually kind of curious. Okay, so these are. Does this do? Okay. Okay, we're going to do that instead of TSX. All right. Yeah, these are not typed. So we can get rid of all this. And then oh, yeah. So starts a shell environment into the node and layers system. This is so much more complicated, actually, now that I think about it. This is complicated because there are more things going on here. I don't think I want to touch this. Yes, I've already started off real great. I'm just deleting everything I did. Okay, I'm going to stick to exactly what I want to actually accomplish. So one of the first things that I want to accomplish is I want to change all the naming from app to domain. So like this is app name, domain name. Yeah, see, cursor already knows. Domain. Yep. We've been slowly, steadily changing to getting away from the word. Okay, so other things, create a package. Yep, package is what it is. Package type, TypeScript, ESM, CommonJS. I don't even know if I have anything other than TypeScript at this point. I don't even know if I technically want to support anything other than that, but that's fine. I guess I could. All right, let's see here. Sorry, I like to think out loud sometimes. You're my inner sanctum right now. New domain. Let's separate these out so I can actually see what's going on here. I want to create MCP server. Okay. I don't need domain name. I need a... Ah, man, this is like killing me. Oh, you know what? Maybe we really should just do change create system so that it actually produces an entirely... Yeah. You know what? Let me go back because I started refactor the tool. Oh, okay. Yeah. Right. I might just go back to this full refactor. This is a lot. I'm not gonna lie, this is a lot. Let's focus on... No. So regarding the system, it should always create an API, front end, SDK, and client. And SDK. Front end is optional, but by default it does React. There is no client anymore. That's the SDK. Let's keep package manager npm. Only remove choice. Okay. Yeah, we really got to fix this interface because the reality is in order to build like a full node and layer system that you would expect, so like, you know, say something like you do for like Django, you're going to have like a back end, you're going to have a front end. And it's kind of funny because, you know, Django really, it's only, well, I guess it technically does do a front end too because you're doing a templated website. And so it's all kind of, you know, co-located. Well, in the case of these, you really don't want that. Although you could, now that I think about it. I never really thought about it before. But by doing bundling, you absolutely could mix all that code together and it wouldn't make any difference. I'm now trying to think whether or not I should do that. Well, there's some problems with doing that. Part of it is like the implementation. You wouldn't want to include the code. You wouldn't want any accidents of being able to do that. That's just that's a bad process. All right, here we go. Create model, package, domain, create SDK, API, front end system. Okay. Okay. Always creates SDK. Yep. Okay. What are they saying about root? Output structure. Build, dev, and test. Packages. Mono repo structure should be system name, SDK, API, front end, package.json. I don't know why they would put packages on the inside. That's stupid. Why nest it further? This isn't Java. There's nothing I hate more than Java in development. I'm sure there's, maybe I would hate Perl more or something, but Java and all their standards and everything about it, I can't even believe that people would use this crap. This is like stuff pumped by Oracle, like worst technology company of all time. Like the least open source development, which means it's had the least number of actual brains touching it. Java's terrible. Let's see here. Yeah, we're going to CLI surface final. Yeah, that's fine on that. Oh, that's right. In order to do this, I wanted to give it like a real... Oh, man. All right, so let me look at this. Okay, so now we got the module behavior. So domain, create domain, mirrors legacy, okay, whatever, SDK, scaffolds, type interfaces, models, plus tiny transport aware client. Correct. Oh, I see. Regarding the SDK, it can either be REST or MCP. I'm not sure what else is meant by transport, but that's really what it should be. Okay, so then now, scaffolds, types, interfaces, and models. Oh yeah, when it creates the domains. This is so interesting to me. How to, I have a full system, like a full system that I've built from all of this, and I'm thinking like, how do we scaffold this? Because it's like you go and you create a model, it should go put into eventually we will need to redo the logic of create model. Right now it assumes that it is going to put the model in the main directory or something like that. But what we need to do is see if we are in, assumes that we are inside a like API directory, goes to source and puts it in place. What we need to do is see if we are in the main directory. In order to do that, when we create a system, we should have a special file at the base that indicates that we are in the base directory of a node and layers system. I wonder if this kind of makes sense to maybe peel out maybe it's an index.ts that says, you know, export const system name equals whatever, and then we also have like export const, you know, description. Or it's a system.ts that exports a struct that has the name and description, maybe version. Then when run the create model tool, it sees if it's in the system directory, finds the SDK and puts the model in place. Yeah, we're trying to build as much scaffolding as possible because I've done this stuff so many times now that no one should have to do this a million times. Least of all myself. Okay. Now the real question is we should put the shell. This is why I deleted all the shell stuff. We should put the shell in there, but now we also have to keep in mind, are we in a system directory or not? How? Yeah, if you're on the, I'm trying to think about how one would do this. There's some decisions that I probably need to make. I'm going to, let's see here. All right, got myself a little latte here. Want to go take a little break. Now I'm back. Okay. Man, I'm thinking about how big this refactor is. There's so many things going on here. Some of these are actually just redefining how a system even works. I'm trying to think about this, how to actually do this. I'm sure there is like a really good opinionated way to do this where it's like you have a single package.json and then you do like certain kind of like bundling. I could totally see bundling, making it so that you have a single cohesive data or a single cohesive thing, and where all the code is all integrated together. Which I'm not gonna lie, would actually be really, really nice. Gosh, I don't know if I got time to refactor like that though. So I see it now because I started doing this where I've got the ability. No, the problem is at the config level. You really need to be able to configure each one of the different deployments, and you're not going to deploy a back end with a front end. It's not going to work. I guess this always goes to why people are so opinionated and how they got this, that, and the other for stuff going on. Let's see here. Follow-ups. After initial implementation, we can incorporate real-world examples of SDK API front-end to minimum viable code and adapter. Great. Okay. Yeah, that looks good. You know, let's just do it. If you haven't already, then read up the MCP tools for functional mod. Yeah, we don't need that. For node and layers core. Also note all the code that we create should be functional, paradigm, const, etc. All right. I'm really trying to think about this. Like, if I would do this again, I mean, I'd like actually having the front end separated because you may have multiple front ends. I could 100% see needing multiple front ends. Another thing I know that we need to build that we don't have yet is we really need to give you that kind of the auth capability, which is like you have a user. I actually have all that built in my own system, and it's really kind of a copy paste, bring it out, and then expose out some interfaces for doing certain kinds of things. Because I found that like I started out like doing Azure with this system. Don't ask me why, but because unless I have to, I will never use Azure again because it was so awful. It's just people think AWS is bad. Azure is just it's just a mess. So, anyways, obviously there's like certain features Azure has that are unbeatable. You know, no comment. But what I certainly found is depending on how your user backend, like how your user connects into things, it could be quite different, especially how you do searches and stuff like that. So I switched to doing auth 0, if I remember correctly. And that's the thing that actually provides our kind of auth. But there's still the model and there's still other things about it. All right, let's see. It's got quite the little list here. Add new namespaces and keep app alias. Create domain module by copying app alias create app. It never called that tool, did it? I'm curious, did this thing ever call the tool? I don't think this thing ever called the tool. So bad. Domain SDK API in front. Great. For you, if you are using Node and Layers Toolkit, the namespacing, it's a little more verbose, like this kind of stuff, where we have like this, like at whatever namespace. I don't recommend that you normally do this in your system where you have like, you know, some appended thing here. That's not really for you. It's mostly for package creators to put it on there, unless you're creating a package. It's really for package creators so that they don't inadvertently merge with your domain. And so normally you should just do the straight up domain, like app, domain, SDK. You should just have just that word. It's so much easier to type and all this kind of stuff. I don't want that stupid word in there. Okay. So we got all that. Really don't need these like added whatevers. Yep. Okay. That's fine. Okay, we're now creating the domain. Yep. Domain features. Yep. See, this is what I'm talking about, dude. AI is amazing. Oh, I didn't even think about turning this into an MCP server. I think there's some problems with doing that. It's not that straightforward. This, unlike our other systems, this is not AI first, I would say. Yep, that's all fine. Yeah, okay, get package JSON, domain already exists. This really is like copy paste of the other thing. I'm pretty sure that's what it was doing. Getting current package name. Am I using the word package? I am using the word package. I'm using it very similar to how Node does it. That, I really should be using a type, but whatever. This thing is moving a lot faster than normal. I don't remember this thing normally moving this fast. Nil system JSON. Whoa, what is this? Oh, I see. Okay. It's come up with that. That's fine. Yep. Get dependency version. Right. Oh, we'll get into this. It actually needs to do more. I think our toolkit actually needs to be. Let me go down here. Name install. Is it REST API? I'm looking it up right now. I should not. I should just be able to actually look right here. Okay. REST client. All right, got a lot of stuff to review. So this is the API, right? Okay. The is it just fine working directory API name? Okay, never mind. Continue. I'm just thinking ahead here. I think that's probably fine. Yep. So all it's really doing, you know, you got your cross-layer props. It's not even, I don't think it's actually, is this using it correctly? It is not. Hey, you need to fix your use of cross-layer props. Every get inner logger uses cross-layer props. Every service call that you make, even if it's empty, you should pass cross-layer props. Like it should be going in like right here. Does it have layer functions? It does. If it's got layer functions, it's got a cross-layer props. That's the one thing. That's the one thing I could not automate was the passing of those IDs. There's no way to do that without doing some crazy, weird state type stuff, and I don't want to do any of that. That's the only thing that you have to do. That is, if you want tracing, all the infrastructure's there. You just have to do the basic plumbing. Sorry, I really wish I could do something other than that. But we're here, like, for example, you just do that. Here, you just do that. Okay, we got those. Get dependency version, do that. See, this is kind of stuff that I would not want you to do, is to do this kind of stuff where you have to do like namespace, and I really would not want you to do that when you're building your system. Okay, so we got our front end name, framework. Okay. How many times is it going to... It just keeps duplicating this code. Didn't it do it? It did. It's doing a lot of duplicate code. Any other code like that consolidate into a single domain? Okay, yes. Now it's finally getting it. All right, so now we're talking about front end. Okay. Workspace? No. You're killing me, Smalls. You're killing me. What does it have it as at the config level? Okay, first off, any common use things need to be at the beginning of our apps list. Loads from top to bottom. Second, you can't have a non-unique namespace. You have to have a unique namespace. Please stop what you are doing and read the MCP tool for Node and Layers Core. This is all stuff that's explained. I've tried to tell it like twice now. I don't know why this thing's being so stupid. All right, let's see. Okay, it's now no. Oh God, no. No. Import some comes in through the context. I know it has access to this tool right now. It's right here. Right there. Run it right now. OAI. So some might complain like, oh, this is all just such a wasted time. It's like, bro, do you see how much code this thing just pumped out? And it's actually accurate. Yes. Add this to the allow list. There it goes. So now we just learned everything about node layers. And it's like, oh my gosh. Yes, please stop jacking my thing up. Yeah, I think it's learned the errors in its ways very quickly. I'm just thinking about like other stuff kind of going on. No, it's so stupid. It keeps making this dumb mistake. No, this has to go all the way back here. Whatever. All right, next file. Yes. Correct. Yes. There it goes. Look at that. It even knows. No. You're killing me. Oh, this is the config. It really doesn't need this. I don't know why it does this. Maybe I used to do this. I'll take the blame. There. Okay, I'll do that. Um, it already did that. Yeah, so I just noticed that this thing is bigger than the screen. Sorry about that. I just now realized in the whole video. You really weren't missing anything. Just AI doing a bunch of silliness. What I'd like this toolkit to be is it should be used a lot to include. I actually did have directions. There may actually be directions in there right now of how AI would actually make these calls to. Don't tell me this thing just undid what I just did. Hey, you should use my example. This. Yeah, of course you notice. Just change it. No, what are you doing? Go back. A node and layer system. The main thing about node and layers. Whoa. Well, I see. 11.9. Yeah, I don't care. Why are you giving me these warnings? The main thing that node and layers really provides is it provides how to organize code so you don't end up with a spaghetti mess that's impossible to maintain. I've done enough of these systems over the years to just know that the Django people, the Ruby on Rails people, they know what they're talking about when it comes to like when it comes to doing system design. It's just too get package type. I don't understand what this get package type crap is. Shouldn't all these get package type take like an argument and then return a type? What is its purpose? Yeah, I have no idea what it's doing with this stupid thing right now. You should build the interfaces so they don't change. So if you need to pass in args, use an object. Then the second argument is a cross-layer props. You should merge these into the workspace domain you created. It's the same thing. What's SDK here? What is I don't even know what I'm actually looking at right now. Oh, I see. These are the arguments. Right. We need to do, depending on the different flags, we need to include additional packages with the with the so am I in data right now? Where am I at? Am I in data or API? Yeah. Okay, so I need data. Rest what? Server. What I highlighted. We need this for the other ones as well. The SDK is going to use the clients rather than the servers or data. Note, even though this sets the version, later, depending on template, will decide if it's using one or the other. All right, it's doing a lot of other stuff. Let's see, consolidated. Okay. Oh. I see what it's doing. I think I see now. It's like the exact same. Did it run prettier or something? What is the difference? Yeah, it's kind of, it seems like it's running prettier. Oh. It's actually not a bad idea. I didn't really think of it that way. Um, it does tell you. Okay. What's next? Yeah, I have no idea where we're at. I mean, it looks like we got a lot of the commonalities here. It certainly does make me think that we need. Well, no, there's other stuff here. I don't know if we can actually reduce this down. Where we at 36% on our context. Want to make sure that we're always good on that. Of course, it's doing a bunch of crap behind the scenes that are like, All right, here we go. Add templates. Yep. Oh, yeah. So something we need to be able to handle is we create a system. we ultimately need it to link the SDK from the API as well as the front end. We can always do this at the end, but just know that if we have we're always doing an SDK. If we have a system we are building, then we need to create. I'm actually curious. Did it even update any of this? I don't think it did. Let's see. It didn't. Implement, create, orchestrator. Okay. Then we need to create the API, the front end, then the SDK, and then install the SDK and the API and the front end. I think this will be the only auto linking we will do when it comes to creating a new part of a system. So we could I'm just going to leave it as is. Of what you organized to get that out. Basically, it's the linking of these together. It's one thing about AI, it pays most attention to what you've said most recently. And sometimes it's good, sometimes not so much. Okay. We need to repurpose the existing system ones. They have most, but not all of what we need in REST and React. React is basically the front end, and REST is kind of a base node and layers platform, but it is actually missing a bunch of things for REST or MCP. All right. We're coming along. I still want to do the shell. And the reason is I'd like to be able to just run the shell anywhere at any time and it load up. And I think that's really not a problem because the shell is a really simple command. We'll repurpose the existing system templates as follows. TypeScript, React, yeah. Keep Vite app, remove system root concerns. I don't know what it's saying there. REST, we'll go to okay, yep. System template becomes mono repo root only, yep. This is node and layers. I need to now pull up my SDK because this thing is not really going to have this thing figured out at all. Index.ts, source, types.ts, config. Let me see what config looks like. Unfortunately, I can't show you. It's a proprietary system or whatever, but it's fine. Like, it's not a big deal. Let me... You'll still see the rest of the stuff anyways. So, okay, we do that. Copy, paste. All right, then let me change a bunch of these things. Oh, I forgot about that. System.index.ts, source system.types.ts. And then let me get rid of all this. MCP. Oh, yeah. MCP client. What's the difference between the two? I don't even remember. Oh. MCP client and then MCP. I see. Then we're also going to have source MCP. Is this services? I think features, index, OAuth 2, services, types. Okay, what else we got here? SDK config, where does that come from? Oh, we could do health. Health would be nice. Okay, model factory, MCP, All right. Well, no, there's more there. Okay. Oh, there's a bunch here I didn't add. I don't know why. This is what the should look like. Does not go at the base of the directory, it goes inside of source. Yeah, it's a different kind of config. And then, oh, we also need client. Yeah, there's a lot going on here. Client. Index entries. Weird. And then we got a types. I think that's it. And then, all right, I've got to sanitize this a little bit. Okay, we'll do that. I don't know if you actually need, you do actually. Oh, no, don't do those. Okay, and then this is what the source index should look like. There's a lot here. There's so much to making all these templates. The SDK template is actually a little bit different. Note, if we are doing REST, we should focus on MCP first and then do a throw exception if we use REST. I want to make sure that MCP is done for sure. Come back to REST later, which maybe never. I don't use REST anymore. I mean, what's the point? MCP is REST. It's just a nested, you know, it's a little bit more nested in there. But our AI MCP interface is easy enough that you should be able to call from the command line anyways. Okay, yep, there we go. All right. Yes, good. That is definitely going to reduce some of the ridiculous levels of complexity. We need to do, oh, we got server and REST server, okay. Okay, go ahead. Now it's going to start moving a million things. One of the things, just thinking about different kind of stuff in the system that's out there now. Our ORM system is pretty good. It's been very battle tested for like 3+ years. It is absolutely no replacement for doing like real optimized queries. But if you're doing like some simple, you know, well, it could actually be some pretty complex searches. But you know, if you're just doing searches, you're just doing retrieves, you're just doing some simple deletes and stuff like that, you should use the ORM. So much simpler. It certainly, we added some new features, so it finally can do not. It's actually kind of unbelievable that I've gone like 3 years without having to write a not query. And then all of a sudden it was just like I had to keep writing like not queries, like does not have this, does not have this, does not include this. It's kind of funny it just took that long. to write that kind of stuff. Running the linter. What do we got here? Oh, I see. It needs to do the versions. New generators. Yep. What was the thing that was missing just now? Not that. This. Packages. Right. Okay. I hate that it's not giving me like the most simple of these. The short form. I never do long form. Personally. Yes. Yes. Gosh, I love AI. It just knows. It just uses the obvious situation. Whoa, whoa, what is this thing doing here? I like how it made it more readable. File template. Interesting. The apply templates doesn't allow you to pass in a bunch of different node module or packages like the MCP server. Core at the moment. We need all those other ones. Basically, the idea is we use handlebars and we fill in a bunch of different variables, and then if the template has the variable, it uses it. If it doesn't have the template, or if it doesn't have the variable, it doesn't use it. It's just the same thing where you just have a big context, you apply it, and you're done. All right, versions. Okay. Look at that. That was clever. I'll admit, that makes things a little bit better. This refactor would have took a very long time. You know, I don't know how long we've been going on for. What is this? Does it say? Yeah, an hour now. You know, we're doing this at an hour. This probably would be much more in the realm of 2 weeks. All right. What's next? I think what I would try to do is I would try to actually run this code. Npm install -g Oh no, I got to go in Toolkit and then run build watch. I need to do a build watch on it. Then I can use it. Still not. Toolkit dist npm install -g right here. So then now, if I do that, there it is. Create SDK. Test me SDK. I don't know if it actually did anything. So I supposedly just ran create. Oh, did it ever move the templates over? I don't think it did. App package. We need to do the templates now. Okay, let's see. Okay, so now we actually have a thing. Actually, let me make a temp space. No. I don't think this thing understands at all how to do this correctly. Okay, so these things just like totally wrong. Yeah, there's a lot here that's not quite correct. I'm going to start debugging this because I'm seeing it and it's just not right. I actually want to know, how is it doing the logging right now? Oh, I see. Maybe I'll do full. Oh, Lord, don't do that. Could do JSON. It's actually... I'm basically doing this command right here. I should be showing you this. Do nil toolkit. Create SDK, test me SDK, and then I'm using JQ. Oh. Wow. How does it not know about nil toolkit? Okay, so now it apparently magically does. See, it ran. Okay, it's going into there, executing features function. It goes into writing templates, doesn't do crap. Okay. I don't want it to do any more until I can just figure this most basic thing out here. Okay. So we got to go to templating services. And then it's going to do read templates. Templates, the name, just SDK, package type, TypeScript, and then nested. Oh, if it has nested, is that what it is? Yeah, if it's nested. It should actually show it going in there. I kind of don't know why it's not. Oh, do I have a... That's why. It's like, it should definitely be showing it running a lot more functions in this. Got nothing back. So you're seeing how to do debugging on a system like this is basically, you know, I like looking at JSON logs. I've looked at these logs enough. These IDs, super useful, but not that useful when you're kind of doing this by your eyes. What I'm looking at here is I'm looking at the logger name, which is basically telling you that we're in this domain. We're in a services function, and then this is the function name. What message is that? So executing is when it first starts. And then it tells you the arguments that were passed in. Then it says executed, and then it tells you what was returned. And so that means we need to go in here and see what on earth is going on here. So we got a bunch of glob stuff going on. Okay. Oh, it's doing okay. Right pipe. Glob. Oh, now I'm like really confused. How could this possibly result in an error? Because it's an object. It's a P. No. Just give me p.name. Gosh, I don't need more than that. Okay, I'm really confused now. Okay, for some reason that works. That doesn't make any sense. Nothing. It just gets absolutely nothing back. Super weird. Admitted error on event. I truly don't understand what on earth is going on here. Logging at 53. Well, let me just see what's going on here. I think I already know. It's not even worth taking a peek at. This is a JQ problem. This is going to be very hard to read. Okay, here we go. ESM. That's why. So then when I come into, I see the issue now. Where's, it's like right here, and it's like, I can't see it. Yeah. It's because there's this, is like, oh, I see. No, not get dependency version. We need templates. Right here. Services SDK, get package type. Oh. We need a check at the beginning of create SDK, create API, create front end to see if we are in a node and layers directory. If we are not, then we need to explode. Basically, if is system root returns false, we need to tell the person that we need to get to that directory. Yeah, that's the issue. What is this? This is just a bunch of files I didn't review yet. I don't want to do that. I want to just focus on SDK, which is just going to be totally wrong. I already know just by looking at how they structured it. We don't need this, this, or this. Just one at a time. All right, we should now explode. Okay. Must be executed in node, listen, da, 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 da. Okay. My system. Okay. Now we should be able to do what we wanted. Oh, that's right. Find working directory nil.system. Isn't that what I created? Whoa, this thing did some stupid checking. temp my system nil system.json. Isn't that what this is right here? Oh, I did a dash. Still don't have the thing. Oh, I see. It's dying on my. I'm sure you probably saw this as I was going. It's dying because I'm logging, and whatchamacallit is very unhappy. JQ. Very unhappy. Somewhere else. Really not doing logging correctly. Okay, I have to find where this is. Templating services. Yeah, because this is where I was working. All right. So now, executing, write templates. No. Yeah, it's not finding anything. I know it's not. So I have to do, no. I have to do this. There we go. This is crazy. Well, it keeps coming as ESM. That is the issue, actually. No. No, it had it, and then I took it away. I am actually going to take the trace out. It's a bit crazy. I mean, most of these are trace, right? Debug. That's actually very useful for that. All right. This is getting a little tricky. So let's do simple. Let's just go back to this and do this, and it'll pop out. See, ESM. Totally wrong. How could it be ESM? It's not. Oh, because I haven't passed it in. See, I told it not to do this. Which one is this? This is oh, I need to be in the workspace thing. This thing. Yep, there we go. So now what I want is, now I know what the issue is. I don't need that. What I do need here is no, I don't need endpath, for gosh sake. this. Okay. Actually, looks like it did stuff. Close. Yeah, MCP client. Yeah, this is totally wrong, but that's fine. SDK name. Yep, we'll get into better stuff. Okay. In our template variables, running through our creation to make sure it works. Which file? No, it's doing something. It's doing something bad. Actually, Actually, this is correct. I see. I see. Because we don't need that. Okay. Now let's create the SDK. I don't want to give it the optional arg anymore. Okay. Perfect. So the name of the SDK for the package.json, unless provided, should be my system/SDK. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and do this. And I'm going to say a node and layers example system. This is what my nil.system. Yeah, it's kind of background. What node and layers is like, okay, so it's like you got the core, and that core is really just kind of the structuring type stuff, the logging, some of the like useful libraries like annotated functions and handling like cross-layer props and all that kind of stuff. And now we're building this into a larger system like Django. So normally, at least in the past until working on this, all this was done manually, where you build SDK, this, that, and then you link them together. I'm trying to take all that and just compile it together. So whenever somebody uses node and layers, they're going to jump right to where I am right after all of the years of learning all these kind of stuff. They're just going to jump right in and get all that crap for free. Um, all right. It's starting to do stuff. No. Yeah, it's being a little silly. Should not do this. Okay. So a big thing that I'm advocating nowadays, um, at least at the feature level. The other ones, maybe not so much. You know, you do what you need to do. But at the feature level, really enforcing the concept of always having your inputs as one object that gets passed in, and then have your cross layer props. And then you either do a void return or you do an object return with something in it. And it makes the system a lot simpler and removes a lot of other kind of things. So like, for example, returning an array as part of a feature, not doing that. Instead, returning an object that has a property that has an array in it. So many things I've learned over the years about doing such a kind of thing, being really, really important, for just, again, adding on different kind of blocks and then scaling the capabilities and stuff. And apparently something's complaining over here. It's not building. SDK services is unhappy. Why? Oh, it changed in the type here. What? Workspace get type. Yeah, it definitely did. It did it. No, this is package type. Really annoying. All right. Failed to read nil.json. Why? Oh, it's not valid JSON. You probably knew that. There it is. Okay. mysystem.sdk. Great. Trying to think if there's anything else I want to do with this right now. Okay. Oh, let me try the create API. Huh? Oh, I never installed these to the toolkit. That's because there is no REST server. Why would it even be doing that? API features. That's not what it is. It is REST API. Is it? Yeah, it's a REST API. Okay. Go ahead and run our build watch, and then try to run it. Okay. Of course, it did nothing. Is it not in the templates yet? I thought it was. App, domain, system. Need to move out the API from REST and put it in templates for API. Testing one thing at a time. I agree that the actual files that go in there, not as important right now. Is just making sure these overall functionalities work. Then what happens once we do the system? It's going to be like boom API, boom framework, boom SDK install over, and then then you hit install and it's going to do it all. We're at about an hour and a half on this video. So what's really cool, I don't know if you're watching this or not, but what's really cool about AI now is I can actually take this content that I'm doing, that I'm talking right now, and actually build it out. So, I'm going to talk as though I'm talking to AI. AI, what I want you to do is I want you to pull out all the good little helpful topics that I've brought up as we've gone along, whether it's about just development in general or developing node and layers or any of that kind of stuff, and pull them out. I have an AI system, a non-public AI system that has all sorts of tools, and one of which is like transcriptions and like summaries. And when I say summaries, it's actually a lot more detailed than just a summary. And there's some pretty extensive prompt code in there that makes it work really well. Let's go on. Oh, I see. Oh, I see. REST. I didn't want to do REST. Okay, now it's doing MCP. Whatever. That, I should put that locked. That's one thing I found about TypeScript. You don't want it. You don't want to give it this. You don't want it to just automatically choose whatever latest version, because your crap won't build. It's super annoying. It's just totally unnecessary. I don't even know what value it adds if you're not getting some sort of new feature. It's not like it's security oriented as far as I know. Okay. Create API. Still doesn't work. Okay, let's go to API now. What do we got going on here? Read templates. API package type. It's probably the package type all over again. It is. Same problem. Okay. Let's see if it was smart enough to do that. Nope. Yep. Same thing with the name. We're getting there one step at a time. One step at a time. This is the the testing stuff. Now I could be building like unit tests and things like that. I don't really think it's necessary. A lot of this is all very system dependent. Could do it. I don't know. We'll see. I think maybe once I release this, I'd be willing to do it. I've got very extensive unit testing on every one of the actual like core libraries, but this is not like a core aspect of like making sure your system works. So it's not that important. All right. Okay. I don't like that it keeps... Dude, what are you doing? Removing my get package type. You haven't built a way for us to pass through the package type for ESM TypeScript. So I added it to types and services. It's freaking jackass. No. This is like painful. I don't know why. Actually, I do know why. Because it's got stuff that it's doing. All right, run our tool. Okay, we got it. I think it knows now. Okay, so the next thing that we need to do now is we need to do now we need to migrate React. Yes, full copy. This is when AI development is slow and boring. I definitely could be doing some other stuff. Let me think if there's some sort of way that I could do both of these at the same time. I mean, I know one thing I got to do is I got to gather what exactly a minimum viable setup is for this, and I've got like a lot of code for MCP servers and stuff that needs to be put in. Maybe it's not a lot, but like for the client and stuff like that, I've code written that works. there's certainly a bunch of additional features inside the servers that are not, I think they're undocumented at the moment. Certainly need to get documented. But the ability to add in like additional pathways and stuff beyond just all the stuff that's exposed. Okay. I don't know why I didn't just copy it. It doesn't need to make it. Yeah, using Node and layers in actual front end development, it's been very interesting. Certainly, I did experiment with doing, where it's loading the layers, like loading like form libraries. So it could do, you could basically create components from the context itself. I don't really know if it was super helpful, but certainly passing in, a context. Well, you don't really need to pass in a context, but like the core thing is like you can get the node and layers context inside of a component, and it works really well. Really well. This is just ridiculous. Like stop. Why does it not have the ability to just copy paste? There's like look how many files are. There's like 5 million files. You can't do it like this. Copy. Paste. Whoa. Just copy this. Yes. All right. So now if I do front end, rack does not exist inside package.json. Oh, I see. I don't think I want to do that. At least as of right now, we're not going to do that. So what that means is I'm going to undo some things that it did. What it did was it wanted to do these. Don't do these. Okay. Sure, it's probably the exact same thing. It is. This is why I like AI. Just tap, 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 tap. All right, so now we have front end. Let's make sure all this works. I think it does. I didn't even think about it, but I could consolidate probably most of these like Vite and TS configs. Okay. So we're good there. So what we need to do now is I have the front end, API and SDK all working as expected, although actually we need to check on the front end. I'm sure it does not. We need to update the front end so that it does the front end name like API and SDK. Just looking at some emails and just seeing like corporate buzzword jargon, it drives me crazy. Like the name of this company is so ridiculous. It has the word synergies in it. That's so bad. I promise you I would never want to work for this company. Synergy. I mean, synergy is. I mean, it's a plenty legitimate word, but to like put it in your name, dude, it's buzzword jargon. Like, what are you doing? Just say some stuff and people will like it. It's like dehumanizing on like a massive scale. Employers. What does it say? Like a contracting a hot body company, corporate staffing solution. We build trust at a client. These are the kind of people that put in like the biggest dummies ever into software development. It's like some evil stuff. Not gonna get into that. Okay, here we go. Yes. All right. Let's delete our front end and try again. Okay. It didn't work. Let me guess, because it did something stupid like change my package thing. No. Front end services. Oh, it added that crap back. This is so dumb. It's doing a lot of caching. That's really what it is. Okay. Okay, now we need to implement our create system. It should call all three based on the arguments passed in. Also, it should create our nil.system.json file and put the name in, as well as a boilerplate description of node and layers. Let me see, I have it in generated by the node and layers toolkit. All right. It's kind of like an SEO branding thing. I've seen it on some stuff where basically you put that in there, and then as people create their code with it, it'll start to pop up on Google and or any kind of scrapers, I guess. It's also a way that somebody could easily search for node and layer systems that are out there. So let's see. I know we need to create an auth module or a package. We also need to create a package that has a front end system for admin. I have a lot of code and I have a lot of experience creating code that has a system like that. Like I do have a system. Unfortunately, it's using functional models 2.0 and not 3.0. So I'll have to go and pull a bunch of stuff. But what I did create, which was really nice, is a new functional models 3, like a form, an automatic form creator that has um, the ability to create uh, fields and all that, and like submit forms and validate forms and all that kind of stuff for an entire model. That's the key core point. And it I do have some foreign key stuff in there, but I know a much more robust one needs to be created. I did create one in another system that would allow you to search like any properties. Now, it's very complicated. I had to build like a bunch of stuff on like denormalized property names is like a big one. So how to get a denormalized name for a model so that it could display in a single line. There's a lot of stuff when it's like the moment you start talking about foreign keys, it starts getting really, really goofy. And it's not super duper straightforward. Okay, here we go. Yes, don't be doing that. Okay, that's great. Okay, yeah, that's good. All right, I need to read the code from like top to bottom. All right, create a system. Create a valid system name. Marker. Templated data. Oh, okay. Yeah, that works. Interesting. I think it's like reusing code that I probably wouldn't have done it that way, but okay. Instead of hard coding the inputs, you should just flow along the arguments past n. They shouldn't be optional. Required. Package type, transport, SDK name, whatever is at the interface level. Oh yeah. Then you also need to create the SDK to the API and the front end. Synergistic solutions. The corporate stuff it's bad. You want to talk about like a dead society? Just look at corporate people. Dude, stop. Okay. We're getting really close, actually. I'll probably kill this video once I can build all the systems, and maybe I'll do a different video that goes into like actually building what the actual content of these are going to be, because it's really close. But you know, this has already gone on for 2 hours now, and that's a pretty long time. You didn't do that. Undo. It's probably going to take a little bit of time to get that API right. The SDK right. I also actually have to update the domain so that domain's fine. Although what I should do with domain is like when you say create domain, it should create across all of them. Maybe pre-create feature. Well, I guess you got to do services too. there's a one downside to the system that I have, that it has to it just keeps doing this caching nonsense. No, 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 no. Need to run npm commands like cd API and npm install SDK. So stupid. No, don't do it like that. It's not at all. What needs to happen is when you're connecting all the system together, you just do an npm install to it. And then if you want to go and deploy this, you just get an appropriate bundler, and it just bundles the SDK. It just bundles the SDK with it. And same thing on the front end. It bundles it together. So you don't need to publish a separate package and all that kind of stuff. It's just a really bad practice. I've been sold over time on the monorepo. There are some reasons not to do a monorepo, or even it's good to do a monorepo but not include necessarily everything in the monorepo. You know, if you've got, it just depends on how you want to connect and disconnect certain kinds of things. You know, like right now, what I really would like to do with this other system that I built, I would really like to have my main system in the back, but then having a kind of a branded system. So having like two different APIs that one front end calls both of them. Because the main system is actually more usable beyond just the one use that I'm using it for. Okay, boom, boom, boom. Okay. Let's try it out. Create system. My. Okay. TypeScript. To fix the nil toolkit interface. Yeah, we gotta, in order to call it, it's gotta be fixed. Yeah, see here, execute bash command. Yep. Yeah, it seems some security issues right there. Because if I make that SDK name, yeah, I'm gonna have to do all sorts of cleaning on that. Luckily, this isn't like, it's not the most important issue. Not like an actual web thing, like securing a website, or even the securing of the API. That's a different topic. I really need to try some fun things like dependency injections and not dependency injections. What am I talking about? SQL injections and similar kinds of database attacks on my functional models. I mean, I'm using like the most popular, common things behind the scenes for that. So I'd be surprised if there's really anything there. Like, basically having them do the security rather than us. Really wish it would not have. Create short names for all of these variables. I don't understand why it's got this SDK name. thinking like about this term API, if I really should be like server. It's just like thinking like how these terms all blend together, what it actually means. All right, I'm sure it's fine. All right. Why is this not working? System name, language, system type. No. That's not still needed, is it? This system type from the create system. The way we do React is if they include, it's basically forgetting all the original parameters at this point. Basically, when it does create system, where's it at? Dude, this is not required. No. No. The way we do React is if they something like no front end, a boolean, and we don't create it. Remember, way back at the beginning, the context, we have the breakdown of what the interface needs to be for this. We are also looking at making a wizard to get these parameters. This thing is just totally forgotten its context by now. I'm surprised it's actually gone on this long. Just goes to show you just how they're doing all sorts of funky stuff behind the scenes. Which, I mean, that is the value of Cursor. I'm not going to lie. I've seen other kind of things where they try to mimic Cursor, where all they do is like, oh, it's a chat box and it can run some tools and it can integrate with this. That is not all Cursor's got going on. Not even close. There's other stuff that they're doing, especially like their tab. Their tab is just sick. It's pretty freaking amazing how good Cursor's tab is for doing development. It's quite frankly, I'd give up doing what I'm doing on the right long before I'd give up the tab at this point. It's just so good at pattern matching and putting in and guesstimating what you actually want. Every now and again, it's not nice. I also don't like the fact that it reuses the tab, and so the tab has other uses, and so sometimes those can conflict. Not the most nice thing. No. Yes, store true. Continue. Oh, I need to go back and check this system thing. Yeah. Oh, I see. It does do it. Okay, good. We're really close. Oh, what's it doing here? Oh, yeah. Okay. Look at that. It actually picked up what I was working. Good. Instead of just being super silly. Yes. Okay. System name, my TypeScript. SDK already exists. This is actually complicated now. I just realized it was never gonna figure this out, but basically when it does create front end, I have to. So in order to do the system flow correctly, we need to be able to pass in the location, all this stuff. First and foremost, we should be assuming we need to create a directory with our system name, and then inside of there is where we create stuff. I think we need to refactor our code so that we have the ability to pass a postfix that updates the working directory so that the services know where to put the stuff correctly. Right now, it assumes it's all in the folder that it is in. But there's something about that, because that's not how this thing worked before, so... Yeah, it's doing working directory and then API name. Normally, it's okay that it's in the same working directory with like API, but this system name at the end of the working directory. This means many different functions throughout API, SDK, and front end need to be updated. Sure, pathing all works correctly. Like, does API already exist? Needs to be updated. Just notice that they now have the ability for us to be able to do tab inside the little talking thing. That's actually kind of cool. Haven't used it, but I'm seeing it certainly is going to make things, me having to type less. Come on. Yeah, it's kind of funny looking at node and layers, over the last like 5 or 6 years, working on a bunch of different systems and seeing where all of these ideas and all this code really came from. Um, I probably have created probably 6 different systems, all of which fed into the thinking and the experience behind this. This thing's going to do so much stuff. It's insane. I might as well just, you know. And that's just kind of how it works. I mean, you build stuff, you move on. I had this guy that I was friends with, and he used to just say, no code is permanent. All code will be deleted and rewritten. And he was totally right. His code, every single line of code I think that guy wrote while he was with us has been deleted and or replaced. And it was replaced within 2 to 3 years. Maybe 1.5 years after he left, everything he ever wrote, gone. And yeah, I wouldn't say, oh, dude, it keeps doing this. Stop removing package type from get package type. You're killing me. Like, so annoying. Like, stop doing it. Somebody's poking me. They want me to read an email. But yeah, it's funny because the functional models 3.0 that we came out with, a lot of the code was this guy's so it's so ridiculous. Framework React, create front end. Okay. No, man, just leave it alone. 2.0 was pretty sweet, but the amount of refactoring needed on it was just it was so massive. There were so many things that I wanted to do that it was just like not allowing to happen. So many like awesome automated type things. It just so many great things actually I learned from running that. And we ran it through, and it's 2.0 is still being used in many, many systems. Do the postfix stuff. That needs to go in. We're really close. It's gonna be so cool. It's gonna be like boom, 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 connect it and glue it all together, and all of a sudden you're gonna have this mega system. And I'll probably build. Another thing that I've done here is I've done like a package.json at the high level that does a build across the board. That's pretty cool. And so it'll do a build watch across the entire system. There's kind of some sketchiness with it. I probably need to spend a little bit more time. I might need to ask Claude or somebody to give me some pointers on doing some of these complex node mons where I'm basically monitoring changes on one that affect the other and all that. And I kind of took some of it into account, but it could definitely be better. Learned a lot of things on that. I'm trying to remember what the big things on 3.0 are now. There's so many awesome properties. Some that are like, there's some really complex ones that, it's not until you get way in the weeds you realize, like, man, I really need it. Like the denormalized properties. Those are a big one. And they have the ability to very quickly and easily make it so that you can basically take properties to include foreign key properties and build a single value out of it that would be like a denormalized, like a name, like a unique name or something like that, that could be used in a GUI. And it just just works. Love that term, just works. And that really made this system I built that I'll probably model the back end admin stuff off of. It really made it sing, because at that point you could actually understand what is this object, because you're not going to use the primary key to understand what object it is. And so when you have a single object that has like tons of foreign keys, you can see what it's actually connected out to by reading its denormalized name. Super sweet. And basically what it does is it updates it. I don't remember if on save it will recalculate it every time. I don't think so. I think it will only recalculate if you tell it to recalculate, or like you set it to something. Yeah, you recalculate or you set it to it, or it's not there. So that's kind of an important one. At least I'm pretty sure. Now that I think about it, I can't remember if it does an auto recalculate or not. It probably doesn't, because they can be some pretty beefy queries behind the scenes to make those happen. All right. There we go. Yes. Add support. I guess in theory, I could have actually just modified. I could have just created instances of those features and whatnot, and modify the context, passing it in. And that's always a way to do it. And then basically update what that base the working directory is. Okay. Getting close. All right, what do we got here? Okay, we spent all that time and all you did was that. Nice. Just added the root dir name. See, this is what's so sweet, that there's still people today who do not know. They've never seen anything that I'm showing right here, that I can tell it to go do a refactor across a semi-complex thing that has like tons and tons of files that it needs to hit all over the place. And not just a single path, but it's like, oh, all of these different paths are basically impacted, and it's going to go and update them. It's going to do a pretty darn good job of it too. I have no doubt in my mind that this thing is going to get it correct, because especially once we got to like GPT-5, GPT-4, it was really doing this kind of stuff. But now that we're on GPT-5 and it's doing like the thinking, which makes it take way longer, but now that we've got there, it's accurate. It is extremely accurate. Of course, I'm looking at these and I'm like, Oh, I see. It's passing the package type now. Why would it do... I don't know why it would have did any... What a god-awful thing. I guess this needs to be a proper package type. Okay. I don't think it actually really needed to update that. Certainly being much more functional and a lot less state by doing that. And I've come to find over many, many years of building systems in which there are nowhere near enough people to maintain them, stateless, functional, serverless is for real. Definitely if you're not in the, there's millions of users and, you have people who are going to like maintain these things, but, you're dealing with complex systems for, some smaller number of users and whatnot. You have to build in a way that does not require you to constantly have to maintain and make sure everything is up all the time. And really the best way to do that is stateless, serverless, functional. And the stateless is one that I find that a lot of people really have a hard time with because they have a hard time thinking in stateless. This includes like databases. Sometimes, depending, I went 5 or 6 years on one system. No, I'm exaggerating now. We probably went 3 years in a system. No, that's not true. I think what is true is we went 3 years working on a system where only 1 or 2 models, there were only 1 or 2 actual state models in the entire thing. And they weren't really state. They were just like, it's like a testing system. And it has like descriptions of tests. And so that was stored in a database. Whoa. Don't do state touching stuff and features. Do it in services. I like that. It just goes like, oh yeah, just go and do that. Don't do that. Put that in a services. This makes it so much harder to test. See, this is what I'm talking about. Even in the AI itself, it still has these stupid habits that are just really lazy habits that end up making systems a lot harder to maintain. Services and features. Features stitches together services and other features. It takes libs, it takes like pure functions and utils and services and features and combines them all together. But it definitely does not make service calls. Service calls require a lot more careful consideration. Okay. Fine. Oh, I see. Yeah, I see why that's a problem. Yes, it takes, if you're doing it in TypeScript like this is, it definitely requires more verbosity. I'm not even going to attempt to pretend like that's not true because you have to basically define what is in your system, what's in your services and what's in your features. You have to define it. I'm very well aware that that is verbose. The services, especially if you don't want to expose them, maybe not the most important type thing, but they definitely would need to be exposed here. But if you're doing it in JavaScript, I will say that node and layers really shines in JavaScript, which I know it's not really set up at this moment to do that. But the reason being is it makes it really easy to know where all these complex things are. Okay. It just felt like running prettier or something. Okay, now we have services. Yes. Yes. All right. Okay. I tried it out and it's failing because it still is attempting to put the SDK in the working directory, it creates the system directory and the nil.system.json file, but then immediately fails on SDK. Definitely think I need to update this simple syntax, simple message from core. It can be a lot more explicit than this because obviously most of them, it knows what these are. Gosh, I thought we were so close, but that was 30 minutes ago. I do feel like we're close. It just needs to get the thing correct. Maybe I'll call it here. If anybody's even still hanging out there, I'd be surprised if you sat through 2.5 hours of this kind of slow development. But if you did, cool. This, as we said, we're going to tidy up the last little bit here. And then the next thing that we're going to do is I'm going to go in and I'm going to put like the actual specific code that basically is then going to be what somebody gets when they go, okay, I'm going to create up a system, boom. And also like if they create an SDK or an API, what exactly code they're going to get from that. And it's going to show and demonstrate, it's going to have like example code in there, like with the health feature. And I probably need to create a model. I don't know what that model is going to be, but create those two things so that you can physically see what it actually looks like. And so that when you go and you start your own system, you'll have stuff that you can literally just right out of the gate copy and paste and modify it. But until such time, I'm Mike. Good to see you.